From disappearing monoliths to rotating islands and mysterious skulls to lost cities underwater, there are many incredible findings scientists still can't explain. For example, did you know that there are more than 50 things discovered that scientists are yet to explain why they occur or exist in the first place? Today, we will explore 12 of them that have particularly grabbed our attention. There are many things science and scientists have been unable to explain. The first people to admit that science cannot explain everything are scientists. So we begin our countdown to number 1 as we go through the 12 most incredible findings scientists can't explain. Number 12. Mysterious skulls. In the Caucasus, an area spanning Europe and Asia, archaeologists discovered a chest filled with some strange skulls. The chest had an emblem of a German occult organization known as Unidentified. The organization existed in the 1940s, and its purpose was to search for mystical relics. Judging by the shapes of the skulls, the beings to whom these remains belonged were horned and walked on 2 legs. They also lacked mouths, having small holes on the sides of their heads instead. What do you think these creatures were? Science doesn't have an answer for this, but the skulls are as real as the sun. Number 11. Scottish tiny coffins. In Scotland, a cave with 17 tiny coffins was discovered by accident. Each coffin was less than 10 centimeters long and could easily fit in the palm of your hand. They were nailed down, and inside each coffin was a carved male figurine wearing sewn clothes. Who made them and why is unknown. Perhaps they were part of a magical ritual like voodoo dolls. Who do you think these dolls were made for? Do you think they were linked to humans? Do you think the humans had their arms ripped off like the dolls? Leave your answers in the comments. Number 10. Utah monolith. The roaming monoliths of Utah, Romania, California, and New Mexico arrived like a gift from some kindly higher entity into the flaming, plague-ridden nightmarescape of 2020. The monoliths are large vertical metal slabs that stand 10 to 12 feet tall. They arrived out of nowhere and vanished almost as quickly. In the Utah desert, the first appeared on November 18th and vanished on November 27th. The second one emerged near the Romanian city of Piatra Neamț on November 27th and vanished on December 2nd. The third appeared on the summit of Pine Mountain near Atascadero, California on December 2nd, was removed on December 3rd, then resurfaced on December 4th. And the fourth was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where it debuted on December 7th and was removed the same day. They appear to be extraterrestrial artifacts. This is due, in part, to their resemblance to the monoliths of Stanley Kubrick's sci-fi classic 2001: A Space Odyssey, in which aliens install huge black monoliths to guide humans from one stage of evolution to the next. All 4 of these real-life monoliths are spooky, lonesome things. Nobody knows if another may arise out of nowhere, or if it, too, will vanish into the night. In reality, we know very little about these monoliths, which appears to be part of their purpose. They are stunningly unexplained phenomena, demonstrating that the universe is still full of wonders. What purpose do you think the monoliths serve? Do you think aliens dropped them? Number 9. Ball on Mars. Why is there a ball in this photograph taken by NASA's Curiosity rover in September 2014? Rocks on Earth can be weathered into a spherical shape through a process called concretion, but based on what we know about conditions on the surface of Mars, the same effect should not be possible there. However, it may have been possible millions of years ago. Scientists have long suspected that Mars once had liquid water and seas, explaining what we see here. This photo is not evidence of Martians playing basketball, as some hoped, but it could be evidence that water once flowed on the surface of Mars, which is a far more exciting prospect. It does make us wonder why rocks like this are so difficult to find, though, because if this rock was shaped by water, it should be surrounded by others. What do you think this ball found on Mars could mean? Where do you suppose the others are? Number 8. ancient city underwater. Almost everyone has heard of the tale of Atlantis. The mighty metropolis claimed to have sunk beneath the waters thousands of years ago. Nobody knows where Atlantis is or if it existed, but many nations have their local rivals. Here's another one to add to the list, and it's roughly 40 miles out to sea. A series of straight lines can be seen in the water. These lines run on for 75 miles, with an average width of 3 miles each. There appears to be no plausible explanation for what these lines are, so some people have suggested that it might be the remains of an ancient city. The long lines might be roads, and if we were to dive down, perhaps we could understand them. The lines are so visible that it's difficult to dispute anything there, yet the authorities appear curiously hesitant to investigate. Could their reticence indicate that this is some underwater military facility? It is strange that the remnants of an old city would be so far away from the land, yet the presence of the lines is already strange. Number 7. Rotating Island. Nobody knows why an island in Argentina appears to rotate. The island is perfectly circular and is surrounded by a crescent of water that can be tracked spinning around the island on Google Earth. Movie producers discovered it while using software to scout for possible filming locations. Suppose you follow the history of the location back a few years. In that case, the island's lake can be seen moving to the island's top, bottom, left, and right. Between the strange phenomenon and the distinctive shape of the landmass, there are suspicions that it might be of artificial origin, which begs the question of who would make a rotating island. Number 6. Sandy Island, 1876. There are hundreds of islands in the South Pacific, but Sandy Island isn't one of them. This is the strange case of a phantom island seen on Google Earth, but isn't real life. The island is relatively large and roughly the same size as the United States city of Manhattan and appeared to be situated to the northwest of New Caledonia. When it was first noticed on the Google platform, it looked strange because of its dark color and polygon-like shapes. So, researchers investigated it. It appears in British Admiralty maps of the region by 1908. Other cruises failed to discover it. Therefore, it was deleted from most maps by the 1970s, but remained on others. Unfortunately, one of the maps that still feature the non-existent island was used to create the World Vector Shoreline Database, which belongs to the United States military. The World Vector Shoreline was then fed into Google Earth, creating the expectation of an island where no physical island existed, which explains why it looked like a black hole on the map, but does not explain what the Velocity saw in 1876. Do you think this can be a legendary disappearing island from the movies like Pirates of the Caribbean? Number 5. Unidentified flying object or military aircraft. Everyone enjoys a good UFO story, so let's have a look at one of the greatest. This photo clearly shows a crashed disc-like object in a mountain range in Arizona, United States. Like so many other photos in this video, it was collected by Google Earth. A white van is next to the stranded disc-like object, which provides scale and confirms that someone knew where to look for the unexplained object. To add to the mystery, this part of Arizona is designated as a no-fly zone. This means there should be nothing there. As tempting as it may be to imagine that this is a crashed flying saucer, there is a better explanation. A good reason for the military to establish a no-fly zone in the area is to test new types of military planes in the area. This could be a new type of stealth bomber or a large drone of some kind. We can't rule out the possibility of a spacecraft, but we shouldn't pretend that it can't be anything else. Some claim it's nothing more than an old abandoned water cistern, but we believe that's probably not the case. Do you think it's a UFO? It looks too good to not be one. Number 4. Siberian sinkholes. It's a good thing Siberia isn't highly inhabited, since these sinkholes would be a huge concern. Whole streets, and maybe entire towns, might be gobbled up overnight with no notice. A Russian television crew flew over a remote region of Siberia in July 2020 and noticed a crater over 100 feet deep and 60 feet wide. The crater had not been there the previous week. It is the 9th such large hole to appear suddenly since 2013, and the phenomenon is unexplained. When the first one appeared, it was suggested that it might have been a freak accident caused by a meteorite impact or the collapse of an underground cavern. Still, it is unlikely, as several others have been cited. The most concerning possibility are that the craters are caused by explosive buildups of methane gas beneath the surface. There is an enormous amount of methane in the Siberian permafrost, but as the permafrost melts, more methane is released every year, which could mean more explosions and craters if methane is to blame. If methane is to blame, Siberia may soon look like Swiss cheese if this continues. Number 3. Sarcophagus Party Pile. In the Al-Assasi cemetery in Egypt, archaeologists discovered 30 wooden sarcophaguses with mummies inside that had simply been buried some 3,000 years ago, but were preserved in excellent condition. The coffins lay on top of each other several layers deep and were discovered by accident. It had become the largest discovery in Egypt in the previous century until 2020, when archaeologists found another secret burial with 59 sarcophaguses. Scientists discovered chambers in the ancient cemetery of Sahara at depths of 10, 11, and 12 meters filled with intact sarcophagi. All the mummies have been preserved in perfect condition, even though they are over 600 years old. On the sarcophaguses themselves, there remained paint and wax, which had originally been rubbed on them to make them shine. Amazing, right? Number 2. Crocodile Grave. During excavations of an Egyptian tomb near Aswan in 2020, archaeologists discovered the body of a crocodile in the sand. At first, they didn't think much of the discovery, but further excavation revealed a mass grave of 11 mummified crocodiles that had lain in the sand for about 2,500 years. The purposes of burying these reptiles has remained a mystery for scientists. Archaeologists think the crocodile mummies were sacrificed to Sobek, the Egyptian deity with a crocodile's head. I wonder why Sobek needed all those crocodiles. Number 1. Stonehenge. The sight of the massive piled stone planks that make up Stonehenge is enough to make your back hurt. Consider how humans in past times hauled these boulders hundreds of kilometers before the introduction of the wheel. Today, this historic location in Wiltshire, England, is one of the world's biggest mysteries. The stones that make up this ring weigh around 25 tons each and tower approximately 13 feet tall. Around 3100 BC, humans began erecting these massive constructions of the late Neolithic period. How do you think these stones got there? And if you enjoyed this video, watch our video of the world's most mysterious medical devices ever found that has scientists scared.